India is on the move. Every day, its cities pulse with the energy of millions of people heading to work, school, and home. The roads are alive with the sound of engines, horns, and the constant flow of traffic. Millions are buying cars, and with that freedom comes a new problem: air pollution. As more families achieve the dream of owning a car, the skies above India's cities are growing hazier, and the air is becoming harder to breathe. The air in India's biggest cities is thick, sometimes almost unrecognizable beneath a blanket of smog. The government has decided it's time for cleaner, more efficient cars, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about regulations. It's a high-stakes battle that will shape what Indians drive for years. The choices made now will ripple through the economy, the environment, and the daily lives of millions. The heart of the fight? Corporate average fuel efficiency, or CAFE norms. These rules are designed to push carmakers to build vehicles that use less fuel and emit less pollution. Think of it as a school report card for car companies. The government sets an average pollution target for all cars a company sells. If they don't make the grade, there are consequences. If a company sells gas guzzlers, it must balance them with super-efficient models to meet the average. It's a delicate balancing act, and every decision matters. The government is about to make these rules much stricter, and every carmaker is scrambling to adapt. Engineers are working overtime, and executives are rethinking their entire product lines. Will they invest in new engine technology, push electric cars, or search for a clever loophole to stay ahead? The options are many, but the clock is ticking. This is where the real drama begins. Behind closed doors, strategies are being drawn, and risks are being weighed. The new CAFE norms are about to shake up the industry, and the pressure is on. Every department, from design to marketing, feels the heat. Companies like Hyundai, Tata, and Maruti Suzuki are all fighting for their future. Each brand is racing to find the winning formula that will keep them ahead in this new era. The government's tougher targets mean big changes and big risks. The industry is watching every announcement, every policy shift, with bated breath. Every manufacturer must now decide: innovate, adapt, or get left behind. The race is not just about speed, but about survival and vision. The stakes? Billions in investment, the future of India's car market, and the air everyone breathes. The outcome will affect not just profits, but public health and the environment for generations. But as always, the devil is in the details. Every word in the new regulations could tip the balance. A single clause in the new rules could give one player a massive advantage, changing the entire landscape overnight. And that's where our story truly begins. The next chapter will reveal who adapts, who stumbles, and who seizes the moment. Welcome to the new race for cleaner air, a race that will define the future of India's cities, its people, and the very air they breathe. So, what exactly are CAFE norms? Think of it like being on a diet, except instead of focusing on a single meal, you're tracking your average intake over weeks or months. It's not about one day of eating healthy, but about consistently keeping your average in check. For car makers, it works the same way. The CAFE, or corporate average fuel efficiency, norms mean that the average emissions from all the cars a company sells in a year must stay below a strict target. It's not just about one model, but the entire fleet's performance.
The government is now slashing the old limit from 113 grams of CO2 per kilometre to a much tougher 91.7 grams. That's a dramatic shift, and it's going to shake up the industry. To put it in perspective, it's like being told to cut your daily calories by 20% overnight. Suddenly, every bite, or in this case every car, counts even more. This forces car makers to rethink everything, from traditional engines to hybrids and electric vehicles. They have to innovate, redesign, and invest in cleaner technologies just to keep up.
This system isn't unique to India. CAFE norms are used worldwide, from Europe to the US, as a way to push the auto industry toward greener solutions. The beauty of this approach is that it lets buyers choose what they want: small city cars, big SUVs, or anything in between. But behind the scenes, every company is under pressure to improve their overall average. For companies like Mahindra, famous for their large SUVs, the challenge is even bigger. They'll have to work much harder than a company that only sells small, fuel-efficient hatchbacks. To comply, they might need to make their SUVs more efficient, introduce new hybrid or electric models, or even shift their sales mix toward greener vehicles. The ultimate goal is clear: make all cars in India less polluting, without banning any specific type outright. It's about raising the bar for everyone. And if companies fail to meet these tough new standards, they face hefty fines and penalties. That's why the entire industry is watching these changes so closely. The new, stricter target is a bold move for India's climate and public health. Cleaner air, healthier cities, and a step toward a more sustainable future. But now, a small proposed change in the rules could upend the whole system, creating uncertainty for car makers and regulators alike. The big question: should some cars get special treatment, or should the rules be the same for everyone? That's the spark for what's quickly becoming the industry's biggest and most heated fight in years. Let's dive in and see why this one clause is so controversial, and what it could mean for the future of cars in India. Here's the twist. India's draft fuel efficiency rules offer a special break for cars that weigh under 909 kilograms, measure less than 4 meters in length, and have engines smaller than 1200 cc. These are the compact, lightweight vehicles you see zipping through city traffic, often marketed as the most affordable and practical options for Indian families. The official reason for this exemption? According to policymakers, these tiny cars are already engineered to be as efficient as possible, squeezing out every kilometer from each drop of fuel. They're seen as the gold standard for fuel economy in the mass market.
At first glance, this sounds fair. After all, small cars do pollute less than big, gas-guzzling SUVs. Their smaller engines and lighter frames mean they naturally emit less CO2 per kilometer. But here's the catch. Critics argue that the 909 kilos cutoff is arbitrary. It's not based on scientific research or aligned with global standards used in other countries.
That's where suspicions start to swirl. Was this rule crafted to benefit a particular company or segment of the industry? Some insiders wonder if it's a coincidence that certain popular models fit perfectly within these limits. Hyundai, Tata, and Mahindra argue that even the smallest cars can be made cleaner and more advanced with the right incentives and pressure from regulations. By giving these cars a free pass, the government removes the incentive for automakers to innovate and improve efficiency in this crucial segment.
It's a bit like telling the top students in class they don't need to take the final exam. Sure, they're good, but they could be even better if challenged.
Critics insist that rules should apply to everyone, regardless of size or segment, to ensure a level playing field and drive progress across the board. Exempting one group not only distorts the market, but could also allow outdated technology to linger on Indian roads, undermining efforts to reduce pollution. The fight isn't just about emissions, it's about fairness, innovation, and the future direction of India's entire car industry. This controversial clause could undermine the spirit and intent of the CAFE rules, which are meant to push all manufacturers toward cleaner, greener vehicles. The big question remains: does this carve-out represent a smart, targeted exception, or is it simply a loophole designed to benefit one company or a select few? The answer could shape the future of India's roads, its environment, and the very cars we drive for years to come. Maruti Suzuki stands to gain most from this clause. They dominate the sub-909 kg segment.
Maruti argues this isn't favoritism, but common sense. Small cars are already the cleanest. Penalizing them with the same standards as big SUVs, they say, makes no sense.
Maruti points to similar rules in Europe, the US, and Japan, claiming this is global best practice. They see the clause as a reward for decades of building efficient, affordable cars for millions.
For Maruti, it's about protecting a segment that served India well.
But as demand shifts to bigger cars, this rule could help Maruti keep its edge in the entry-level market. The debate: is this a fair reward or an unfair advantage?
Maruti calls it sensible, but Hyundai and Tata call it favoritism.
They've invested billions in cleaner tech, only to see Maruti get a pass for its lightest cars. Their small cars, just over the 909 kilo limit, must meet the strictest targets, while Maruti's don't.
This creates an uneven playing field, making their cars pricier and less competitive.
The opposition includes Mahindra and JSW Motor. Together, they represent a huge chunk of the market. They argue the rule undermines fair competition and slows progress toward cleaner, safer cars.
If Maruti isn't pushed to innovate, the whole industry could fall behind on safety and electrification.
For them, this isn't just about profits, it's about India's future. The stakes are high and the fight is fierce. The battle has gone public. Carmakers have sent formal protests to top government ministries.
Mahindra demanded the removal of any special category for small cars, warning it could hurt India's green goals.
Hyundai warned the exemption could damage India's global reputation and destabilize the industry.
JSW-MG Motor called out the rule as unfairly benefiting one manufacturer.
None named Maruti, but everyone knew who they meant. The United Front has put the government in a tough spot and delayed the new rules. The industry is waiting, and the pressure is mounting. The outcome will shape India's auto future. Why are Maruti's rivals so angry? Because they've spent billions to meet tough standards, expecting a level playing field.
Imagine training for a marathon, only to find your rival gets to run a shorter race. That's how Hyundai and Tata feel about the 909 kilo clause.
The small car market is price sensitive. Even a small cost difference can sway buyers.
If rivals must add expensive tech, their cars get pricier, while Maruti keeps costs low. This could let Maruti dominate, not through innovation, but through a regulatory break.
The protesting companies say this isn't just unfair, it's bad for consumers in the country.
True competition drives progress. A loophole rewards complacency.
The fight is about more than cars. It's about the rules of the game. This isn't just a corporate squabble. It affects every car buyer and the planet.
If the rule passes, Maruti's smallest cars could stay cheapest, but might lag in tech and safety.
If all cars face the same rules, prices may rise, but buyers get better, cleaner cars.
Competition would focus on innovation and value. A win for consumers.
The bigger picture? The planet. CAFE rules are meant to cut emissions and fight climate change.
Exempting a big chunk of the market weakens the impact.
The real question, short-term affordability or long-term progress? The answer will define India's priorities. India's car industry is at a crossroads.
One side wants strict, fair rules to drive innovation and clean air.
The other says small cars deserve a break. They're already efficient.
The government is stuck in the middle, facing tough choices.
The delay is causing uncertainty, stalling investment and planning.
This is about more than emissions. It's about the future India wants. Will it be one standard for all, or special rules for some?
The decision will shape what people drive, the air they breathe, and the industry's future. The world is watching. The race for cleaner air is far from over.